Spider-Man is one of the only superheroes who can look more heroic when his costume is destroyed. A clean suit gives us the icon, a torn suit gives us the person underneath it. And for this artwork, created for Divide Music's Spider-Man inspired song What It Takes, I wanted every rip, shadow and lighting choice to communicate one idea: Peter Parker may be breaking, but he's still moving forward. So while you watch the full illustration process, I want to break down why battle damaged Spider-Man imagery hits so hard, and how damage, body language and colour and composition can turn a superhero image into an actual story. Spider-Man is incredibly powerful. He can lift cars, survive impacts such as flattening, and fight enemies far stronger than the average person. But visually, he is most compelling when the artwork reminds us that there is still a vulnerable human being underneath the mask. That contradiction is the core of the character. Spider-Man is the symbol, Peter Parker is the cost. A pristine suit can make him look confident, controlled and almost untouchable, but once the fabric tears, the body is bruised and the mask begins to break apart, the fantasy cracks with it. We stop looking at a perfectly polished superhero and we start looking at someone who's been hurt and that's chosen to continue anyway. That is why battle damage is not simply a way of making Spider-Man look cooler, although to be fair, it does make him look much cooler. It communicates endurance. A character is not heroic because nothing can affect them. They become heroic when we can see exactly how much the struggle has affected them and they still refuse to stop. For this piece, the damage needed to feel specific rather than decorative. There are tears across the shoulder, chest, abdomen, arms and thighs. Those marks break apart the clean pattern of the suit, but they don't destroy the overall silhouette. That balance matters. If the damage is too small, it feels cosmetic. If every part of the costume is shredded equally, it starts looking less like the aftermath of a fight and more like Peter accidentally brought the suit from an extremely aggressive fashion designer. Damage works best when it records the conflict. Where was the character hit? Which areas would receive the most impact? What was stretched, burned or torn as the body moved? A completely clean costume says promotional photoshoot. A damaged costume says Peter had a very bad Tuesday. And those marks give the viewer evidence that something has already happened before this image. We don't need to see the entire fight, the costume carries the history of it. That is one of the most useful principles in visual storytelling. Show the consequence and the audience will imagine the event. Now, Spider-Man's face is completely hidden, so unlike most characters, the artwork can't rely on eyebrows, skin, or a conventional facial expression. The entire body has to become the expression. The shape of the eye lens is doing part of the work here. They're narrow and angled, which creates focus and determination rather than surprise or fear. But the eyes alone are not enough. The head is lowered slightly, the shoulders are raised, the torso twists under tension, one arm is pulled back into a fist, gripping the web, while the other reaches openly towards the viewer, shooting the web. That contrast is important. The fist suggests power and resistance, the open hand suggests movement, urgency and connection. If both hands were clenched, the image would simply say aggression. By opening the foreground hand, the pose becomes more recognizably Spider-Man. He's not only fighting, he's reacting, reaching and preparing for his next move. Great Spider-Man artists understand that the mask does not remove emotion. It forces them to communicate emotion through posture, angle and silhouette. When you remove the face, every other decision becomes more important. The oversized hand is one of the main compositional tools in this piece because it is the closest to the viewer. The foreshortening makes it dramatically larger than the rest of the body. That pulls Spider-Man out of the background and directly into our space. The web then continues that movement beyond the edge of the image. So even though this is a single frozen frame, it suggests a sequence. He's already launched forward, the web has just fired, and the next movement is about to carry him beyond the composition. Spider-Man should rarely feel completely stable. His visual language is built around momentum, reaction, and catching himself between one movement and the next. He should not pose like Batman, and he shouldn't fly like Superman, and he definitely should not stand perfectly upright while the city politely waits behind him. The tilted buildings, blurred lights, and diagonal web all make the image feel unstable. That instability gives the pose urgency. A strong action image should make us feel what happened immediately before the frame and make us anticipate what happens immediately after it. Now, the moon is the cleanest shape in the entire composition. Everything else is angular, damaged, blurred, or moving. There is this large, simple circle. Its first job is practical. It separates the dark mask from the background and immediately establishes the face as the focal point. But it also creates a more symbolic effect, I felt. It can read like a halo, a spotlight, or even a target behind him. Spider-Man is surrounded by chaos, but the moon kind of gives this silhouette one moment of clarity. The buildings then lean inward around him, framing the body without becoming more important than him. They are detailed enough to suggest a city, but loose and distorted enough to preserve the speed of the scene, which is what I was aiming for. The background should support the character. That is why much of the environmental detail is softened or pushed into the shadow. The city feels present, but Spider-Man remains the image. The palette is built around these intense red-orange hues against dark blue and cyan tones. The warm colours communicate danger, pressure, and energy. The colder tones create separation and stop the entire piece collapsing into one red mess. That cyan rim light around Spider-Man is especially important. It traces the edge of the mask, shoulders, arms, and legs, separating him from the environment while also connecting him to the moonlight behind him. The brightest areas are controlled. The eyes, the webs, the edge of the lighting, and the moon. Those points create a path through the composition. We see the face first, then the extended hand and web, then the body and surrounding environment. Lighting should not simply make every surface look shiny. It should tell the viewer where to look. And because the suit is already red, adding even more warm light everywhere would just reduce the contrast. The cooler edges let the red feel hotter. Color becomes powerful when it is given something different to fight against. Now, this piece was created for Divide's music song, What It Takes, and that title kind of shaped the direction of this artwork. A perfectly clean, victorious Spider-Man would have communicated power, but it wouldn't have communicated cost. This version is damaged, surrounded by danger, and visibly under pressure. But he is not defeated. He is reaching forward. The pose is active, the web is still firing, the eyes are still locked on to whatever comes next, and that is what the image needed to say. Heroism is not remaining untouched by the struggle. It is continuing after the struggle has already left its mark, and that idea fits Spider-Man perfectly. Peter Parker rarely wins without losing something along the way, whether it's time, relationships, safety, sometimes several layers of costume. But he continues because responsibility does not disappear simply because carrying it has become more painful. The artwork is not showing the moment after he's won. It is showing the moment where he decides that he still has enough left to keep going. And that is what it takes means visually. And that is why battle-damaged Spider-Man imagery hits a lot harder. The torn suit reveals vulnerability, the posture communicates determination, and the damage records the conflict. And the forward movement tells us that the story is not finished. A clean Spider-Man is an icon. A broken Spider-Man who still refuses to stop is Peter Parker. And that is where the character becomes human. So let me know in the comments which battle-damaged Spider-Man design or moment has always stayed with you. And make sure you check out Divide Music's What It Takes to see the finished artwork alongside the song it was created for. And if you enjoy my professional breakdowns of comic art, character design, movie posters, and visual storytelling, subscribe to the channel. And for artists trying to improve their work while building a more professional creative career, my book, The Profitable Artist, covers portfolios, positioning, pricing, and clients. The link to that is in the description below. And as always, thank you for watching.